I think it's a very special plot. It's based on a story, and this story is based on real events. So it's a real story, like from a newspaper, you know. It's very unusual for opera. And Shostakovich used a very direct language. It's really like they speak, and he translates it very directly into sound, into phrases. It's there are almost no arias. There's only one or two of Katerina, but nobody else has a real aria. There's always, you know, action in the piece. And I mean, there are two murders, there's love, there's sex, there's everything from real life, you know. And it's not this kind of opera where you, for example, when you're dead, you still sing an aria or something like that. When somebody's dead, he's dead. Boom, finished. The director, Valikovsky, he explained that other than in Shakespeare, the Lady Macbeth is not the woman who pushes the man to do the murders. It's actually she is pushed by men to do the murders. She's not up to it actually to commit murder. She is I think she's a victim of all this story, a victim of the circumstances, of course, dominated by men, yeah, completely dominated. But she's strong, she tries to fight it. Yeah. I have done it with mezzos, with voices which come from the mezzo, and with sopranos, and it's like a little bit in between. You need top, of course, you need strength. I mean, like the big roles in Wagner or so, but you need also middle range and low. So it's a very, very, very compact role. You have brass in the orchestra, but you have even more brass outside the orchestra. It's not like a banda in Verdi's opera. It's really like when something very special happens, they're added. So, for example, the sex scene, you know, they're added to increase the excitement of the sound. Then there is this incredible interlude where they're added. I think it's always to, you know, make the sound kind of unbearable. So the music between the scenes, that is not only to change the set, like in Wozzeck, it's not only to change the set. The composers also use the opportunity to give us a little bit more information just by music, you know, by theatrical music between the scenes. For example, I mean, the biggest piece of all in Lady Macbeth is this Passacaglia after the death of bodies. You know, it's an incredible piece of music, and which he could have used also for a symphony, I guess, but he decided to have it in this moment. There is this string quartet number 8 by Shostakovich, who he refers to as his, it's a kind of requiem for himself. He said even, you know, if nobody other will write music when I'm dead about me, I will do it myself. And you can see it because the motif of this first movement we are going to play is his initials. You know, in Germany, and most probably in Russia too, we call the pitches by letters. It's not do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. It's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know, so he used D, S, C, H, which means Dmitri Chostakovitch. So it's his initials. So you hear very clearly the motive of this first movement of the string quartet, and also later in the piece, is his own name. So it's, and I thought that was interesting because, after all, you know, the scandal or the article which was then followed by Stalin's visit to see the opera, changed Shostakovich's life. You know, until then he was a successful composer. He was very well received. He was, you know, he was fine. And suddenly he got accused by the main newspaper, and that was like, you know, you could be, you could be, how do you say that? It was almost like a death sentence. We cannot imagine today this, but at this time, in Stalin's time, this was usually the first big sign that something terrible would follow. So Shostakovich, from that moment on, until I think at the end of his life, was afraid of being caught in the night. Somebody would knock at his door and pick him up and put him to a camp in Siberia. I thought it makes sense to, as an introduction for the last act, where exactly it's talked about people who are on the way to a camp in Siberia, which he didn't know at the time that this might be the case for himself. After these accusations in the press, he just wrote very touching music for the last act. So I think it's a reflection for the last act.